Hey, Maddie and Maria, can you just look this way for a sec? Good. So on the left up here, on the tufa by itself, there is an osprey nest which is no longer active. Okay. And ospreys are known as fish eagles. Now go ahead and take a break, and we'll just drift here for a second. Ospreys are fish eagles. They eat only fish, but there's no fish in Mono Lake. No fish in Mono Lake.
What's the osprey doing?
That's a good question. What is the osprey doing here? It's nesting, for sure. Where's it getting its fish? Far away. It's a Californian. It likes to commute. It goes to the other lakes up in the canyons here and eats fish and carries them back to the nest. So it likes to nest here because the schools are good.
So because this lake is so salty, is it easier to float in it?
It's much easier to float, yes. And it's a great experience swimming. You don't need to tread water in Mono Lake.
Wow.
So what is it in comparison to like the Dead Sea?
It is about, Mono Lake is about 10% salinity, and the Dead Sea is about 30%.
Okay.
So there's a big difference. Dead Sea is much saltier, but Mono Lake is much more alkaline. With a pH of 9.8, you can go swimming in Mono Lake, but do not spend hours in it. Because a pH of 9.8, 10, that starts to take a toll on your skin. And there's been long distance swimmers who have gotten chemical burns in the creases of their wetsuits because they didn't know that they shouldn't spend hours in Mono Lake. And then their lips swell up because the lips get burned, kind of like a sunburn.
Wow.
So it's great for a 10 to 20 minute dip, but you don't want to spend a long time in it. So Mono Lake is on the rise despite 3 years of record drought in California. We can't do anything about that, but we can do something about water diversions, and we have, both in Los Angeles and up here. Because of a long struggle to find a balance at Mono Lake, today the city of Los Angeles, we're going to get tapped here, watch on your left, it's okay. The city of Los Angeles takes about 1/4 of the water they used to take from the streams flowing into Mono Lake. And to come to this balance took a lot of effort and study and arguing in the courts and coming to a reasonable balance between water for Los Angeles and water for Mono Lake for people. It's water for people all around. It's because we have different values. And Mono Lake is famous for the public trust in California. Because here at Mono Lake, there was a lawsuit that went all the way to the California Supreme Court. And the California Supreme Court said that Mono Lake had public trust values, which meant that there were things here that everyone in the state of California enjoyed, and they had to be balanced with the competing value of water for people in urban areas. And in the history of California, it was about taking water to where people were, and it didn't matter what the impact was on the environment. But at the first time in California history, here at Mono Lake, the court said that we have to balance those values so far as is feasible. And that is the key phrase. We need to always strive to make that balance happen. Because we know, in the end, we have to have water for people. And that's always going to be the extreme case. But if it's possible to make it work, we can have both. And that was the case at Mono Lake because of the leadership of the Mono Lake Committee and a lot of other individuals and organizations and agencies that came together after 16 years to come up with a lake level that would balance those values. So the good news is that Mono Lake's on the rise as more water comes into the lake and has managed to rise. But we are being challenged by a drought, and as the wet years return, and they will at some point, maybe even next year, then the lake will rise and we will have a lake level that's about 11 feet higher, and we'll manage it to keep it at that level. There'll still be plenty of tufa to see as well, and we'll have better air quality from the alkali flats that'll be submerged. We'll have a lake that's not as salty, which will be better for the ecosystem, for the shrimp and flies and the millions of birds that depend on it.
how long would it have taken the lake to drain if Los Angeles had just kept consuming water at its original rate?
It probably would have never drained entirely. It would have become a lake that probably is 20 to 30 feet lower today if we had
I
never.
see.
And it would have been so saline that there would have been very little in the form of shrimp and flies here.
I see.
And it would have become ultimately kind of a chemical sump that wouldn't have very much life in it at all.
And how long would that have taken?
It could, with this drought, it could have happened by now.
Yeah.
But because we reversed things in the late 1980s and early 1990s, we have a healthier lake and a buffer for drought. Okay gang, we're gonna pull back here and slowly make our way back and follow the other canoes. And here's my plan. I'm gonna be quiet unless you have questions. So we can enjoy the scenery and the morning here, and you can absorb some of the information, but please ask questions if you want.